Hey, welcome everyone to the 296th weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. It's November 2nd already somehow. I don't know how that rolled around, but apparently October disappeared.
Yeah, what's with that? I was
jack-o'-lanterns.
I'm still going through October on Animal Crossing, so it's still not Halloween yet for me.
My
Sounds
Animal
reasonable.
Crossing. It might be December, it might be January, it might be November. It's not quite sure at the moment.
Well, as you can hear, we do have a small crowd of people. So there's a Fluffy's Eye,
Hello.
an Alley Claw,
Hello.
and returning from the darkness, we got CPC.
Hi, I'm here only for a week while I'm on vacation.
No. You
And-
must stay forever.
And there's also a Silent Vex. You might see their doodles appear and some written critique. Good. All right, so let's roll on into this. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And as you can see, somehow our canvas isn't full today, unlike the last few weeks. Thank you, other people, for critiquing. So if you have a piece of art you'd like to submit,
Yay.
we might actually take that today. Crazy.
You're telling me that people have actually critiqued on the subreddit?
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5
Wow.
pieces of very good critique.
Angels.
All right, so our first picture is by the Dark Malcontent, Queen Celestia concept art, unreleased project.
Ooh. Top secret.
Mal here. So a few things I dislike about this, like the fail on the reflection on the crown and a few missing colors in the robe. She also has a bit more of a butt than intended. Let's be honest, it's the cake. But I'd like to say this is the first time I used a new eye coloring method by hand instead of trusting a gradient tool. Also, I did a piece on my own rather than the most part. It clocked in just under 24 hours from sketch, research, and pose to final coloring. Surely that counts for something. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. Pat yourself on the back. There's also a lot of things going on inside this dress, so double pat yourself on the back. It's a cool picture.
Mm.
And the hand isn't derpy. It's got a thumb. It's got 4 other fingers. Well done. Hands are evil.
They're evil, but you handled them well.
I think it looks pretty... Hallie. I think it looks pretty good. With the concept art stuff doesn't typically need to be very like polished or amazing. It's kind of just there to like get an idea down. So I think you're doing that pretty well. So yeah, like experimenting with colors is good. Definitely do more of that. But yeah, just whatever helps you sort of explore the possibilities of a character's design. Like especially if you do more pictures of them, like different angles, different expressions, different outfits, maybe just like anything that sort of helps explore like what the character is going to be and how they can look.
So in your here, let me get closer to the mic. In your comments, you had a comment about the crown reflection going on here. I can see you got a bit of a glow hanging around that top element of that crown, but if that's the only place that's going to catch a reflection, that doesn't quite make sense with everything going on here. So I assume we're picking up the reflection of this cool looking staff here. And let me go for a darker color. Cool looking staff. There we go. So I assume we're picking up that reflection. If we're going to be picking up that reflection, that means we're going to have that across everything around her to an extent. So if we're picking it up on the crown, so we got an edge here. Oh, someone's colored over that. My layer's not high enough. No.
Oh no.
Anyway, there's a reflection over there, and you got a bit of a reflection over there, but none hanging on this third pike. We also got nothing hanging on the face, the nose, the arms, the hair. All of this stuff would happily pick up that reflection too, along with like the crown. You get maybe some hanging around the hips too, depending on how bright this is, how intense it is. It looks pretty intense from here. So I think I would just amp that up a bit more, make sure that everything within a general area of it radiating out from the source is hit by those highlights. Take off all those purple lines. Do. Anyone else got any comments on that? Anything else?
Not personally.
I do notice the eyes are very different sizing. So yeah, we do get a bit of the perspective going on here, but I would make this one just slightly taller. And it's not much, like in this case, maybe 10 or so pixels. Just a brush length or brush width tall. Basically where you have the eyelash, I'd move the eyelash up a bit and replace it where the eye is. Just to give it that height we're looking for, just so her face doesn't end up being a little bit offset. And I'd also move that pupil down just a little bit.
And speaking of perspective, I'd just also be careful. Like for the instance of the crown feels more like it's directly facing the viewer, where we might get a little bit of tilt from it. Therefore, see, some of its 3D form pop out. Little jewel there of some kind. I'm not totally pushing it too far, but yeah, you just got to remember to make everything spin with the perspective, not just certain facial aspects. And plus, then you get it to be a little more poppy because it pops out. It feels less flat. You get to see the thickness of the crown and it, like, being a physical object with the person.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with the sort of angle and positioning of the crown. Whoever's drawing that in green, this would be good.
Thank you. I might have drawn it a little too far perspective-wise, but good
I think it
practice.
works. I think it works. But yes, it's definitely a good improvement.
All right. Shall we move on to our next one?
Sure.
Great work. Can't wait to see more.
All right. Our next one is by Supermarine Spitfire. You might recognize them from previous streams and previous posts.
They're a celebrity at this point.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can.
So the name is For Inktober, Ponytober, Day 31, Risk Nightmare Night. Hootie in the back window is...
Yeah, I was looking at that. Amazing.
Did they
Oh my
have
God,
any
it's really hard.
specific questions?
No, I'm reading over it.
Okay.
So with the end of this drawing challenge, they're going to shift focus back to Drawbox 250 box challenge. And possibly do a wing challenge or wing study. They're wondering how's their quality based on what they've done this year versus other years. And I say if we go ahead and compare to other years, this is... So I'll just go ahead and toss these links because they made galleries for us. So this is 2020.
Oh, perfect.
And this is 2019. I guess they skipped 2021. Monster.
Well, this is 2021, right?
Oh my
Yes,
gosh. I thought it was 2022 for a day. Okay.
Oh no.
Don't get ahead of yourself. You only just had Halloween. Come on.
So character-wise, like the way your characters move, definitely it's a lot better. They feel less blocky, less solid, or less rigid. So it's a bit more interesting to see them moving about. You also stop just being like a lot of face shots. You've worked out from that. Yeah, 2020 you had a bunch of scenery in that, but it was few and far between on some of them.
I feel like the expressions have improved.
Mhm.
They just feel a little more natural.
Line quality definitely has improved too. I, hmm. Yeah. Um, so I think overall noticeable improvement. And it's interesting to look at. It's interesting to look back. It might not feel like a massive amount of improvement because you're like, well, but it's not, full 3D shaded wonderkin art. That's fine. Don't base yourself off of someone else's progress. Everyone's battle
Mhm.
here is a different story. You might not be spending that 1,000 hours a day that some people somehow manage to pull off. They just like time dilation devices. That's fine. You are on your own art journey. They are on
Hell yeah.
theirs.
Yeah.
That's about all I have to say on that one. You're improving, and
Mhm.
that's good. And it'll be interesting to see your wing study. Drawbox. That's so boring to look at, to be honest. It's boxes. Congratulations. It's very, very useful to get a hold of, but man, is it dry to do and dry to look at.
Yeah. See, it's like one of those things where like Drawbox is akin to say like I don't know, an acrobat doing their normal exercise routine to keep in shape versus them actually performing the routine.
hmm
So while it can be good and for your good mentalness, yeah, I don't know. Give yourself time to do the creative side and build that way.
I was just doing some drawovers over here, just sort of aligning and making the structure of the face feel a little bit more comfortable. Some things were a bit squashed. If we look, like everything's sort of trying to fit into a space. Like the head, generally, if I make a new layer here, is sort of quite this tall shape. Like the hat is just like kind of sitting on top of the hair here, which doesn't really feel like it's on the character much. Like if you imagine them moving around, this is basically just sat on top of this little flick of hair. I don't know if this overlap here is like the ear is on the outside or if you intend the ear being on the inside, but either could work really. Um, but yeah, I just and the nose is very sort of squashed into where the eyeballs are, and the cheek is sort of pushed back quite a lot as well, and the forehead's quite big. So I just was doing some straightening. You don't have to do it to the way that I do my style if you don't want to, but I was just showing you possibilities of how things can be sort of laid out to feel a bit more spacious and comfortable and round.
Fluffy, you're so sweet and cute. Oh my god. Fluffy.
Bottom.
I just saw the corner, Fluffy.
All right, shall we move on to our next horse?
Yeah, good luck, Spitfire.
All right, we got this little booper over here.
This is a cute, sweet booper.
Aw.
So this is by Cake Shake 22, and it's first time drawing a full body pony in a while.
This is a familiar kitty knock.
I'm not too confident in the anatomy on it. Any criticism on it would be wonderful. Also, I would really love criticism on the design, as I didn't redesign characters too often. So I assume this is a redesign of Princess Miyamura.
Yeah. Good old
So,
cadence.
just by the cutie mark.
Yeah.
Trying to decide
That's
if this back hoof is too high up. It feels like it's a bit too high up from the
I
perspective
gotta
of someone.
say, I utterly adore the hair. I'm a sucker for big
Yes,
poofy curly hair, but like
I
this is
love
just has a nice flow to it.
I love the dainty hooves and the feathering of the fur and the legs, the
Oh,
ankles,
yeah.
and the wings. Oh, so good. You have some amazing art. Maybe one leg could be sort of brought back just to sort of balance the character a little bit, because both legs are kind of forward. Like,
Mm.
oh, give me my pen back. You look at the joints, both legs are like this, so like they're kind of bent back a little bit. So the center of gravity is kind of around here at the moment on the ground, and so that's going to be not very comfortable for them. So maybe one leg is back in support like this. Came out a bit thicker than I intended, but there we go. I'm trying to sort of mimic your style, and it's not working. And then you've got the other one going forward, but bring it down like ever so slightly onto the ground. And then there we go. That's not very good because I suck at drawing legs. Actually, maybe this one needs to be brought forward a little bit. I'm not sure. I am really bad at doing these particular parts of the ponies.
Oh, it's really cute though. I like it. It gives a little more action to the pose.
Yeah, I like doing this sort of spreading the legs a little bit to give them more balance pose. But yeah,
So I would just thin out the neck
yeah,
just a little bit so it's more consistent with the start of the neck. Just because she's a dainty little horse, not built up that much. So thinning out that neck will help bring in that chest a bit. And then I'd move the joint of the legs just a little bit back, just to ensure that it sort of allows for a little bit of that chest fluff, a little bit of that thinness that is part of her normal character, because she's one of those long and thin horses.
Yeah.
I love
I
your
also
little
agreed
ear
this.
shape. It's so cute.
The mane's
Look at this.
gorgeous. I do
Yeah.
notice there's a lot of streaks that, especially around the tail, that just sort of overlap your, uh, I don't know what to call them, your defining lines here
Oh,
to create the
yeah.
shape. Just be careful when doing those. I know it's so easy to just go, strokes, oh my gosh, let's just get these done. If you're going to bother putting them in, make sure that they're flowing with the body. And that way it'll help you,
Yeah.
well, not just have them broken up.
In this blue, we can see how you've sort of established the shape of these curves. So yeah, it's important. If you do want to have something like going against those, it wouldn't really work well for this type of character. But a lot of the time when drawing hair, I like to do a deliberate flick going like sort of crossing over. But as long as it is deliberate and you can see that it's like its own shape, whereas just like
Mm.
a simple line crossing over can, as LD says, sort of break up the flow a bit too much. So and for this character, you want to have things like this. That's good. Where you've got like this lovely flow, like it's coming this way, but it's also like breaking off this way, and you've got these two separate shapes kind of meshing together. Like that sort of thing is really good for this sort of curly design.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
So you don't want to lose that.
Uh, Anyone else got any points on this one?
Um, I'll just throw it out here. This one's super subjective, so feel free to take it or leave it. I feel like I almost want more pink in Cadence's hair. Like I feel like the purple kind of takes over a little bit too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I feel because like I think of Princess Cadence and I think of pink. Like obviously this is a
Pink
redesign,
and
and I'm not
yellow.
saying you need
Yeah.
to stick close to it, but I just feel like
Hmm.
something about the really really dark purple. Well, it's not really dark, but comparison to
It's
her
it's a
fur
very
tone.
calm, very calm, very sort of not melancholy, but very sort of elegant kind of coloring style. And I think having a like that sort of splash of like yellow and pink definitely helps to bring out the sort of more like warm side of her that she has.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could work. It's worth experimenting with.
Yeah, just it's just something to try, like a little more vibrant pink or something. Then again, like I said, it's totally subjective. I still
Yeah.
like this. I love
Hmm.
the eyes. Like the eyes are gorgeous. Yeah, that does it.
Yeah.
Does it.
All right, let's roll on to our next lovely horse. Da-da-da-da-da. We got a Pinkie Pie. Yeah, it's definitely the Blobfish. This is done by Anonymous12211325. Here's a
Oh, hey,
doodle of
they're in the
Pinkie
chat.
Pie. Yeah, here's a doodle of Pinkie Pie with Blobfish. How did I do with the sketch? You did well. Your Blobfish is adorable. I'm gonna call him Bob. Bob the Blob.
I think looking at just like how the under sketches, these were that was on point. That was, did you see that? That's exactly where your cross section of your face is. Which if I was saying, if we ignore where the lines are on this and say, okay, there's this object down here they're looking at, I probably, well, Ali, I think that's Ali anyway, maybe that's CPC.
No, I think that's CPC in the red.
Have already done the cross here, but yeah, I would do it more like this. So the character's facing a bit further down. To where this creature is. So however you want to do the face, and sort of trying to mimic your style a little bit, but like, whoa, confused. Have the face be a bit more positioned this way. So, draw the whole eyes. It's a very good technique to do. Well, let me just turn this fade up a bit. There we go. That's a bit better. And then you can work on the expression here, just like, whoa, quizzical eyes. What is going on with this thing I'm looking at? Make sure to push that cheek, the bottom of the eye where the cheek is, like you've done. There we go. Yeah, good. So this is where she's sort of facing a bit further down, and you can really draw into the angle she's looking at, and then just make sure to place her eyes, being like, what is down there? What is that looking thing down there? That is strange.
What I did, you did very show style. So what I did was more like additions I like to give to show style. So of course it's not exactly what the show looks like, but I always like giving them a little cheek here
Yeah, they
and a
should
little
do
bit more
anyway.
forehead.
The movie realized it when they updated the style.
Yeah. And another thing that I always like to do is, instead of just attaching the ear on the back, because she's 3/4, the ear will move a little bit forward. So I always like to do another section of the head over here.
Yep.
And like this is also where her cheek would land on this side, because if she has a cheek on one side, she'll have a cheek on the other side. And that's where the ear also connects. That's where I find where to connect the ear instead of just attaching it to the back of the head.
Yes.
So you got any other questions for us, Anonymous? Now that we can see you in the chat.
Get to the chat. There it is. Ooh, excuse me. Are they in the Picato chat?
Yeah.
Yes,
Discord.
and they do
Okay.
not.
All right. Well, looking forward to seeing the next one. Maybe the Blobfish will return.
My advice is I probably could not pick a less memorable name than Anonymous and a bunch of numbers. So maybe that's intentional, but yeah. Maybe have an identity.
Thought there was another picture I posted here.
Yeah, it disappeared and I don't know what happened.
Okay, well, let me post it
There
again.
was, yeah.
Oh, I thought my
Where did
internet
it
was
go?
just being dumb and I was just gonna
Oh,
accept it.
Yeah,
was
I
it
saw
something
it
to do?
disappear.
At some point, you said that you had to like change your layers. Did that cause it somehow?
I'm gonna blame Pokemon.
Good enough. Good enough.
All right, we got one last picture submitted this week, and this is by user deleted from Planet. Full body doodle. Need help with wing placement and hoof design.
Ooh.
Hey, what
And
a
if
great...
anyone in the chat has any pictures they'd like to submit to us for after this one, you can feel free to do so. Since LD said it was okay.
If you want great hoofs, go look at the new movie. Oh my gosh, their hooves are lovely.
Oh yeah.
Got little hearts.
Maybe this pony could be a little bit
Little
taller.
dots.
There we go. There's the
Um,
wing joint and ear joint and the face cross. Let's
From
build a
a quick
pony.
glance, we have some lovely drawovers going, but just two things that stick out to me first is the horn placement. You have it a bit too angled. You kind of want to let me get a different color.
I
If
love your
this is like the
mouth.
center
Such
of
a
the
good shape.
head, you kind of want it coming out this way, so it'll be more of like boop boop. And then the other thing is the wings. You have a pretty good shape going. I like that you have both like the bend in the wing showing, but I would move it up more to here. Basically, wings would attach right around where shoulder blades are. Like if you think for a human body, your shoulder blades, you know, where they are on your back. It's essentially like a pony, like if the pony's shoulder resides here, the wings will be like tucked right behind them. And that's just like a quick thing to think of. Everyone else is doing such good work now. I'll let that speak for itself.
So check the horn angle. It should really be at a 45-degree angle from the center of the head, whereas where you'd had it originally, it was pointing very much like downwards. Unless that's somehow like if that's like a disability of the character, like if they were just born with a horn facing at the wrong angle. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, just keep an eye on how it's facing. The rest is just a matter of proportions, I think. I'm just doing a bit of a draw over for you. You don't have to take what we say and do as absolute gospel. It's just our sort of experience and opinion, because it's always good to get multiple different opinions with art. Um, so you can try looking at different artists if you feel that what we're doing isn't quite what you're trying to achieve. There are lots of people out there you can do studies on. And
Hmm.
that's always a really good idea for growing, is to look at how different people approach different shapes. And it might take a while. Like I remember being, just starting out and just my brain not being able to physically comprehend like how artists were making shapes that work, because it just like wouldn't work for me. It's fine. You don't have to get everything immediately. Now the wing, I put the joint here, which is just above the shoulder. Actually, it should be like slightly higher even. But yeah. So you can see there's the joints there. So the wing's going to be like maybe like this. There's a million and one different ways you can do the wing, so don't feel like it trapped in it. Although I actually really like that shape. Oh my god. It's really fun to experiment with different ways of doing the shape and different placement styles. Some like to do the wings like super long. That's really hard to see. Like this. There's also all sorts of different ways you can do it, but just have a play around. Maybe have the other wing like sort of poking out a little bit. Like, yeah, there we go. And since you don't have the main tail, you don't have to worry too much. You can figure that out. But just to give you sort of a helping hand, it will come sort of about here. Remember, it comes out the base of the spine. The tail will sort of do its own thing, however you want to design it. Similarly, the mane will cross over the top of the head and go around in this like center. But yeah, you can figure that stuff out. I super love like the mouth and nose shape you going on. I basically just drew over it because it was already perfect, and I sort of just drew everything around where that was placed. You also got some nice eye shapes going on. I was just sort of moving them closer into position. Uh, oops, the irises you have them looking forward, so that it would go sort of like this. Yeah. Um, you've already got some lovely shapes going on. You have a lot of potential, so just keep studying and trying stuff out. And I really hope to see what you do next. 'Cause I have a feeling like this is definitely the style of art that we see a lot, where like after a while of drawing and coming here, we see them turn into just like a master level artist. So like I'm excited to see where you go with it.
Hmm.
Love that little stumpy hoof up at the top there.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about how I go about when I
Go
do
ahead.
hoofs that have the little fluff bit,
Oh
when
yeah,
they
I
are
missed
actually
that. Whoops.
separated. I'll use Zai's hoofs here. Just gonna steal one, so I don't have to draw another hoof.
Okay.
I usually like to think of it as just trying to find a good color to draw on. So
Sorry, I
first
stole.
I'll draw where I want the hoof to go. So like here. So this whole part would be the hoof, the naked hoof, and then I do a little balloon shape. kind of like this. That's where the fluff goes behind the hoof. And then there's some that goes in front, and that way you don't get as trapped to the hoof shape. The fluff gets to just move around the hoof, and it, because when you're doing like fluffy hoofs, you don't want to just be following the tube, because the fluff will try to like expand out. I hope that made sense.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
that's how I go about it. But it really depends how much fluff you want to put in.
yeah, absolutely. Is what I'm drawing at the side here visible, LD?
The hooves? Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So how I do it is if I'm doing the stuff, I have the hoof shapes like this. This one on the left is more close to how I do it, with this part here kind of being a bit of fluff in and of itself at the back, or possibly a bit of like a lump of flesh, however you want to see it. It can work for different things, but this is closer to show style. I just do it sort of like a little, like if the hoof was like a little triangle like this, sort of go off that. So if you want to have like fluff, I usually do it like this. It just comes out and then back down, and then sort of flows over itself and joins back with the bottom. So that way you can create this nice little sort of curtain over the hoof. That sort of creates this like triangle shape, and it looks nice. That's two different people's ways of doing fluff, so I hope that helps.
I do tend to do the triangle too and just make the fluff like kind of drag on the floor.
Yeah, you just wanted to show off your like super
I just make
fluffy,
them extra
poofy
fluffy.
fluff ball. Yeah.
All right. It appears as though no one else has sent any other art to us or asked any other questions. So here's your last chances.
Do 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 do.
In the meantime, I don't know, go watch gameplay footage of Animal Crossing or something.
Got the cute drawers in the bottom corner. There's so many cutes.
Cute horses. Oh, there's cuties.
Lots of
Human
cuties.
toast.
You asked where her dress was. I made a anime girl main character joke. So.
All right, well, it appears as though we got no other art thrown at us and no other questions, so I believe we get a call it a day. Thank y'all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.